Hi everyone and welcome back to Top Grade. My name is Spencer Miller and today I'll be sharing a selection of brand new Canadian middle grade books for the winter 2023-2024 season. I've got some great books to talk about today, so let's get started. Our first selection for today is a sequel to a previous Top Grade selection. Suliewey, the sequel to My Indian, is published by Breakwater Books. It is written by Michelle Joe and Sheila O'Neill. In this sequel, Mi'kmaq guide Suliewey decides to go out on his own on a winter search for the last remaining Beothuk camp. These books work to reclaim the settler narrative that the Beothuk and Mi'kmaq communities of Newfoundland were enemies, instead depicting the two groups as having a shared kinship. The story is rich in oral history. It contains descriptions of traditional ceremonies and sacred medicine, the use of Mi'kmaq language, and two-spirit teachings. I was impressed with the amount of historical detail in the narrative. There is so much for young readers to pick up on and pay attention to as they join Suliewey out on the land on this journey. Our next two books are nonfiction titles that take a closer look at how activists make change in their communities. Rise Up and Sing: Power, Protest, and Activism in Music is published by Greystone Kids, written by Andrea Warner, and illustrated by Louise Reimer. Rise Up and Sing is an introduction to social justice and activism for young teens that specifically shows the role of music in making change. The book features many current musicians that young teens love and will recognize, and also introduces young readers to many influential and iconic artists of past generations. Different chapters cover topics from Indigenous and 2S LGBTQIA rights to climate justice to the peace and anti-war movements. The book is really visually appealing, and I love that the illustrations feature so many Canadian artists. My favorite thing about this book is that each chapter contains a playlist of songs. Teachers can share these playlists to bring more music into their classroom and make connections with students. Pride and Persistence: Stories of Queer Activism is published by Second Story Press and written by Mary Fairhurst Breen. This book shares the stories of cisgender women, trans women, and non-binary folk standing up for the rights of the queer community. There are two things I really love about this book. First is its emphasis on queer Canadian history. It includes a great timeline of important events and profiles of activists from decades past. Queer history is something that is left out of the curriculum in many provinces, but it's something that students have a big interest in, and so this book provides an important way to kind of fill that gap of interest and give students a way to learn about important Canadian queer history. The other thing I love is the variety of the profiles in this book that show that there are so many ways to participate in activism and allyship. Activism can look like speaking at a rally, leading a march, building a community, being a good friend. Everyone has something to share and do, and we can all participate in making our communities kinder, safer, more inclusive spaces. And finally for today, I want to share two brand new HiLo books from Orca Book Publishers that are part of their Orca Currents line. These are books that are specifically written for middle school readers, reading below grade level. These books are high-interest stories that are published with special features, including dyslexia-friendly fonts, cream-colored paper, and larger trim sizes that help make reading more accessible to dyslexic and other striving readers. Leon Levels Up is written by Paul Kacha. In the story, 12-year-old Leon must beat a virtual reality video game when a glitch puts him and his friend into real-life danger. The story is highly appealing as it dives into the growing popularity of virtual reality gaming. This is something that I would enthusiastically recommend to any young readers that are interested in video games, technology, programming, fantasy, and of course that describes many, many young readers in our classrooms. Paul Kacha does a great job of also weaving important themes into the story, themes that young readers will really connect to and pick up on, ideas about loneliness and self-esteem. It's a really fun story, a high-interest, high-appealing story, but there's also a lot of heart here for young readers. Cosplay Crime by Marty Chan is another story that really plays to the interests of young readers. In this story, shy 13-year-old Bree steps out of her comfort zone to investigate a theft at an anime convention. I love the portrayal of the anime and cosplay community. Again, these are hobbies that I know so many young students are interested in and will want to read about. I love that this book is inclusive of non-binary identities. The cosplay and anime communities are very inclusive spaces, and so it's great to see that reflected in this story. I know that all of the teenagers I know are obsessed with anime, and so I'm so happy to have a new book to recommend them. And those are all of our books for today. On behalf of the Association of Canadian Publishers, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your continued viewership and support of the Top Grade program. We want to invite you to comment on the video about the books that you're sharing in your classroom, like the video, subscribe to the channel, interact with us online. And we also want to give a big thank you to Ontario Creates for their continued support of the Top Grade program.